Welcome to the English Homie Podcast. Let's start today's lesson.
Welcome to the English Homie Podcast. I am Jack, and this is day 1 of our 7-day Advanced English Vocabulary Challenge. Today, you are going to learn 20 powerful C1 and C2 level English words. These are not random words that you will learn today and forget tomorrow. They are practical words that can make you sound more articulate, confident, and sophisticated. For every word, I will explain the meaning and give you natural examples. Stay with me until the end, because I will also give you a quick vocabulary challenge. Grab a notebook, listen carefully, and speak the examples aloud. Let's begin. Word number 1 is articulate. Articulate means being able to express your thoughts and ideas clearly and effectively. An articulate person does not necessarily use complicated language. They simply organize their thoughts in a way that is easy to understand. For example, Maria is an articulate speaker who can explain complex ideas in simple language. Although Jack was nervous, he articulated his concerns clearly during the meeting. Instead of saying, "She speaks very well," you can say, "She is extremely articulate." Word number 2 is astute. Astute means clever and able to understand a situation quickly and accurately. It is often used for someone who makes intelligent decisions. For example, the manager made an astute decision that saved the company thousands of dollars. You could also say, Daniel is an astute observer of human behavior. Imagine someone noticing a tiny detail that everyone else missed. That person is being astute. Word number 3 is cogent. Cogent means clear, logical, and convincing. We normally use this word to describe an argument, explanation, or reason. For example, she presented a cogent argument in favor of changing the policy. Here is another example. His explanation was so cogent that even his critics agreed with him. A confusing argument makes people ask more questions. A cogent argument makes people say, "That makes perfect sense." Word number 4 is meticulous. Meticulous describes someone who pays extremely careful attention to every small detail. For example, the editor was meticulous when checking the final version of the book. You could also say, he keeps meticulous records of all his business expenses. If you check your work 3 times to ensure that there are no mistakes, you are being meticulous. Being meticulous takes time, but it usually produces excellent results. Word number 5 is pragmatic. Pragmatic means dealing with situations in a practical and realistic way. A pragmatic person focuses on what will actually work. For example, we need a pragmatic solution rather than an unrealistic promise. Here's another example. She took a pragmatic approach and chose the most affordable option. A dreamer may ask, "What would be perfect?" A pragmatic person asks, "What can we realistically do right now?" Let's take a quick pause. Can you remember the first 5 words? They were articulate, astute, cogent, meticulous, and pragmatic. Say them aloud before we continue. Word number 6 is resilient. Resilient means able to recover quickly after experiencing difficulty, disappointment, or change. For example, despite facing several failures, she remained resilient and continued working toward her goal. You could also say, children are often more resilient than adults realize. Resilient people experience pain and disappointment like everyone else. The difference is that they refuse to let those experiences define their future. Word number 7 is discerning. Discerning means having the ability to recognize quality and make intelligent judgments. For example, the restaurant attracts discerning customers who appreciate exceptional food. A discerning reader can distinguish reliable information from misleading content. If you carefully judge something instead of accepting it immediately, you are being discerning. This is an especially valuable quality in the age of social media. Word number 8 is reticent. Reticent means unwilling or hesitant to share your thoughts and feelings. For example, she was reticent about discussing her personal life with her colleagues. You could also say, the witness appeared reticent during the interview. A reticent person is not necessarily unfriendly. They may simply be private, cautious, or uncomfortable speaking openly. Word number 9 is magnanimous. Magnanimous means generous and forgiving, especially toward a rival or someone who has treated you badly. For example, despite winning the competition, she was magnanimous and praised her opponent's performance. He was magnanimous enough to forgive the colleague who had criticized him. It is easy to be kind when everything is going your way. Being magnanimous means showing kindness even when you have the power to embarrass someone. Word number 10 is ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means appearing or existing everywhere. For example, smartphones have become ubiquitous in modern society. You can also say, coffee shops are ubiquitous in large cities. Think about something you see almost everywhere, such as advertisements, social media, or mobile phones. You can describe that thing as ubiquitous. You have already learned 10 advanced words. If this feels challenging, that is a good sign. Your vocabulary grows when you move slightly beyond your comfort zone. Take a breath, and let's continue. Word number 11 is ambiguous. Ambiguous means unclear or capable of having more than one possible meaning. For example, the instructions were ambiguous, so nobody knew exactly what to do. Here is another example. His ambiguous response left us wondering whether he agreed or disagreed. An ambiguous message creates uncertainty. If someone texts, "That was interesting," you may not know whether they liked it or hated it. Word number 12 is ostensibly. Ostensibly means appearing to be true or being presented as true, although the reality may be different. For example, he went to the cafe ostensibly to study, but he spent most of his time talking to friends. You could also say, the meeting was ostensibly about productivity, but the real purpose was to discuss budget cuts. This word helps you highlight the difference between appearance and reality. Word number 13 is inadvertent. Inadvertent means accidental or not done intentionally. For example, an inadvertent mistake in the email caused considerable confusion. Here is another example. She made an inadvertent comment that offended one of her coworkers. If you hurt someone without intending to do so, the harm may be described as inadvertent. Remember that inadvertent actions are accidental, not deliberate. Word number 14 is detrimental. Detrimental means harmful or likely to cause damage. For example, a lack of sleep can be detrimental to your physical and mental health. You could also say, constant criticism can have a detrimental effect on a child's confidence. Instead of saying, "This is very bad for you," say, "This could be detrimental to your well-being." It instantly makes your English sound more precise. Word number 15 is exacerbate. Exacerbate means to make an existing problem or unpleasant situation even worse. For example, ignoring the conflict will only exacerbate the problem. Here's another example. Hot weather can exacerbate certain health conditions. Notice that we exacerbate something that is already negative. You would not normally exacerbate happiness or success. You exacerbate a problem, conflict, illness, or difficult situation. Now answer this question. If a confusing message makes an existing disagreement worse, which two words could describe the situation? The message is ambiguous, and it may exacerbate the disagreement. Excellent work. Word number 16 is mitigate. Mitigate means to reduce the seriousness, severity, or harmful effects of something. For example, the company introduced new safety measures to mitigate the risks. You could also say, regular exercise may help mitigate the effects of stress. Exacerbate and mitigate are useful opposites. Exacerbate means to make a problem worse. Mitigate means to make its effects less severe. Word number 17 is substantiate. Substantiate means to support or prove a statement by providing evidence. For example, The journalist could not substantiate the allegations with reliable evidence. Here is another example. You must substantiate your argument with facts and credible sources. Anyone can make a dramatic claim. A trustworthy person should be able to substantiate that claim. Word number 18 is undermine. Undermine means to gradually weaken someone or something. For example, constant interruptions can undermine your ability to concentrate. You could also say, his negative comments undermined her confidence. Undermining something is often a gradual process. One small action may seem harmless, but repeated actions can slowly weaken trust, authority, confidence, or progress. Word number 19 is perpetuate. Perpetuate means to cause a harmful situation, belief, or idea to continue for a long time. For example, sharing unverified information can perpetuate harmful myths. Here is another example. The film was criticized for perpetuating negative stereotypes. If people repeatedly pass a false idea from one generation to another, they perpetuate that idea. Use this word when something keeps a situation alive instead of ending it. Word number 20 is conundrum. A conundrum is a difficult and complicated problem that does not have an obvious solution. For example, choosing between a high-paying job and a fulfilling career can be a real conundrum. You could also say, the government faces the conundrum of reducing costs without damaging essential services. A conundrum is more than a small problem. It is the kind of problem that makes you stop, think, and consider several difficult options. You have now learned all 20 words from day 1. But before you leave, let's test your memory. Which word means clear, logical, and convincing? The answer is cogent. Which word means to make an existing problem worse? The answer is exacerbate. Which word means to support a claim with evidence? The answer is substantiate. Which word describes someone who recovers after hardship? The answer is resilient. And which word means a difficult problem without an obvious solution? The answer is conundrum. Now choose 3 words from today's lesson and create your own sentences. Do not worry about making them perfect. The goal is to actively use the vocabulary instead of merely recognizing it. Write your 3 sentences in the comments. Your challenge for today is to use at least one of these words in a real conversation. The more often you use advanced vocabulary, the more naturally it will become part of your speech. This was day 1 of the 7-day Advanced English Vocabulary Challenge. I am Jack, and you have been listening to the English Homie podcast. Subscribe to the channel and join me for day 2, where we will unlock 20 more powerful English words. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, and keep improving your English. See you in day 2.